Well, good morning. I'm Archbishop Leroy Bailey, Jr., and I want to welcome you here to the First Cathedral this morning. And we're so glad to have Trinity Healthcare, our governor and our mayor, and our state representatives and others who are here, and treasurer, to be able to welcome people in our community to come and to be able to receive the vaccines. They're very important. Vaccines have done so much for our community. As a youngster growing up, it has been able to cure polio. You're talking about chicken pox and mumps and measles, and now the flu and shingles, and here we are with this pandemic. However, the scriptures teach us that we are not to fear him who can destroy the body, but rather him who can destroy both body and soul and send it into hell. And we have said to our people on Sunday that they need to receive the vaccines. I've received it, and to put all of their trust and confidence in God, and I'm sure things will be okay. There are variants now, and I'm sure that they're going to work on cures for that as well. Thank you for coming, and I pray that you will be comfortable while you're here. Thank you so very much. Our mayor's coming.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
I want everybody to know that there's people in the room. On behalf of the entire Bloomfield Town Council, I'd like to thank you for being here this morning. I'd like to thank Archbishop Bailey and the members of the First Cathedral for opening their doors. Thank you to Dr. Edie and to our governor for being here. There is a light at the end of the tunnel, and it's not a train. It's the COVID-19 vaccine. I'm so grateful that pastors, leaders of houses of worship, they're going to help us on the front lines to make sure that their members receive all the information necessary to make a good decision for them and their families, and also to make access to the vaccine easy. So I'd like to once again thank you all for being here. Thank you to everyone who put this together. And I'm sure the governor is excited about receiving his first shot, and we're excited that he's gonna get his first shot right here in Bloomfield. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. You know, I happened to be moved when the Archbishop started speaking. I whispered into the treasurer's ear, wow, that's a powerful voice. And then he informed me that the governor whispered in his ear that the Archbishop was certainly a voice from God. And I think that we all would agree to that. So thank you, Archbishop, for welcoming us. You opened our doors for us to ensure that we do our part in partnership with First Cathedral to bring not only the vaccine to the parishioners, but to the city of Bloomfield. And thank you, Madam Mayor, for our recently developed partnership and the work that we have been working on, which is very, very important. Treasurer Sean Wooden, Representative Gibson, Senator McQuarrie, and of course, thank you to the governor. You know, I often brag, having moved here from Michigan about 3 years ago, that it was God's blessings that got me out of Michigan into Connecticut under the leadership of such a dynamic governor who, and we should all be proud of the fact that Connecticut has been recognized on multiple occasions as being sort of a gold standard for the United States of America and how we're rolling out the vaccine. It's also an honor to have been tapped on the shoulder by our governor to co-chair with Commissioner Gifford, his advisory group. We've got a lot of work to do. We've done a very good job, I think, thus far, but today represents yet another challenge that we have in front of us. So we're very sensitive to that. It's an honor also to mention the fact that I am a part of the St. Francis family, so the St. Francis teammates that we have here who have done a phenomenal job, seemingly around the clock, to ensure that we do our part in meeting the governor's expectations. So a big high five and a voice of generosity for the great work that they've done. You will learn probably later on today that we will be opening up not one but two new additional clinics to make sure that we take the vaccine we not keep the vaccine just within Trinity of New England, but instead take the vaccine to the community so that it can be administered. As a part of Trinity of New England's mission and core value, we pride ourselves in our ability to provide equitable care for all members in our communities. We have a responsibility to bring the COVID-19 vaccine into local neighborhoods and ensure easy and efficient access. We're proud of our work to put words into action, and so we're pleased about that. Also, I guess I'll close by saying this, just to wrap things up for the city of Bloomfield, to the media out there, the simplest way to say this is as follows, I think. Testing is for virus detection. However, the vaccine is for virus protection. And that's why we must collectively, as a state, continue under the governor's leadership to roll up our sleeves, get each other vaccinated as quickly as possible so that we can reach herd immunity, remove our masks, discontinue the social distancing, and get back to the great state of Connecticut as we always been. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Chief Justice Richard Robinson, and I'm proud to see that members of all three branches of Connecticut government are here and working hard to end this pandemic. I'm here basically to talk about the importance of having blacks, indigenous, and people of color participate in the vaccine program. African Americans consist of about 13% of the population in the United States. In order for us to reach population immunity, we need to have about 75% of the population to get vaccinations. They cannot do it without people of color and without African Americans. It just can't be done. So that's extremely important. And I understand that some people are leery about doing it because of the history of African Americans and the medical profession. I think most of us know about what happened in Tuskegee. Most of us know about what happened with Henrietta Lacks and her family. Henrietta Lacks was the individual who had cancer of the uterus, and her cells were harvested. And most of the advancements that were made in cancer were made because of Henrietta Lacks. But her family didn't get anything from those findings. I also remember, Dr. Marion Sims, who experimented on African American women in order to make the advancements in today's OBGYN field. So there are reasons for African Americans to distrust, but there are also reasons for African Americans to trust. We are in a much more diverse society than we've been in before. Think about it. One of the people who created the Moderna vaccine was an African American woman. Her name is Kizzmekia Corbett, Kizzmekia Corbett. She's affectionately known as Kizzy. The fact that she helped work on this project gives me a lot more confidence than I would have had if it had not been African Americans working on it. When I think about vaccines, I think about when I was young, that I got the polio vaccine while in the school. I also got the oral booster while in school. I have a small scar on my upper left arm that protects me from smallpox. So vaccinations have been common in our society. It's when people were left out of scientific studies that there were problems. For the first time in the history of this country, really, African Americans were explicitly included in the research. So the reason why we should do it is because there's a lot more evidence information out there saying that we should participate than we shouldn't. And I'm looking forward to having the courts up and operating at full speed. We're going to take the things that we learned about technology, and we're going to use those to make sure there's equal access to justice, access that we didn't have before this pandemic. In some ways, the pandemic was actually a wake-up call to the court system to do things better, become more efficient, to do things to get people into our doors. We're getting there, but it's not perfect. We need to get back into a brick-and-mortar courthouse, and to do that, we need to have the population be safe. And so everyone, be safe, be careful, get vaccinated. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. First, I'd like to say thank you, Archbishop. It's always a pleasure to be in your house and to enjoy your hospitality. Today is critically important. And I'm Sean Wooden, Treasurer, State of Connecticut. Some people might want to know, what does the Treasurer, why is the Treasurer so passionate about COVID vaccinations? There's a lot of reasons, but let me start with, and I shared this with the governor a few months ago. On Thanksgiving, my family had a Zoom all across the country, family everywhere. And I was shocked when it turned to vaccinations. And the so few hands that went up in the screens of my family members that were willing to take this vaccine. And I understand it, I understood it intellectually beforehand and the hesitancy around it. But that brought it home to my family from Seattle to Houston to Georgia to North Carolina. And I said, wow, this is really big. And we, in particular, black and brown leaders, need to stand up, to speak up, to talk about the efficacy of the vaccine, to validate the history, which the Justice just went through a bit. And it's black people, it's brown people, it's experiments in Puerto Rico and the islands, it's experiments at the border. It is the healthcare system that has not been equitable, has not been just. There is a reason why we don't trust the system, but that is not the reason why we shirk our responsibility now as leaders to stand up with what we know about this vaccine, about how safe it is, about the studies, about the results. And so I will continue to challenge black and brown leaders, as I've done, to, when your time is available, take this on video, as the governor will do today, and because we need to validate the experiences of our community and the history of racism. We need to educate, and we need to put our money where our mouth is by taking that shot in our arm publicly. Now, in terms of government, I want to applaud the governor for your leadership through this COVID-19 pandemic. And I also want to urge and push you and our entire government to do more as it relates to reaching out to communities of color, right? Some numbers came out recently, and those numbers aren't great. And they look like numbers in other parts of the country that aren't great in terms of the disparity that continues with whites that are vaccinated and African Americans. We have that disparity right here in Connecticut. And that's why I am glad to be here, and I'm glad the governor's here today, and right here in the heart of a predominantly black community to do this. And so I'm going to close by saying, Mayor, thank you for always welcoming me and us to the beautiful, is it the most beautiful town in Connecticut? The nicest, right. This is important today, and thank you all for coming out to capture it. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I am State Representative Bobby Gibson, and I'm here representing the delegation from the state legislature. Before I start, I would like to thank Archbishop Bailey. Thank you again for welcoming us into your home. It is truly an honor to be here, sir. And all the other clergy that are in the room, thank you for coming through. I am here as the state representative for the 15th District, Bloomfield and Windsor, but I'm also here representing the state of Connecticut and my colleagues at the House. I am also here as the vice chair of the Black and Puerto Rican Caucus. And I am going to actually take the baton from our state treasurer, a little bit what he had to say, because his words spoke so true. Just last week, the Black and Puerto Rican Caucus had a talk with Commissioner Gifford, and we had to talk about access, and we had to talk about getting into our communities, because we have to do better. We have to. The numbers that State Treasurer Wooden were referring to was that as of last week, before the 4-day holiday vacation, the numbers were just over 8% of people of color had received the vaccine. Just over 8%. That's not good enough. We as leaders have to get into the communities. We have to go out and we have to tell them that the vaccine is safe. We have to show them that the vaccine is safe. If I was 65 today, I'll be taking a shot in my arm with the governor. But when my time comes, I will do that. But you know, it's heartening when you have talks with those who have already received the vaccine, like Mr. Cardell Snow of Bloomfield, Connecticut here. And we had a talk last week about how he had hard time registering for the vaccine. And once he did, he was trying to encourage others of his age to take the vaccine, but they were hesitant to take the vaccine. So we have to do better because we have to rely on the side of science. I'm not a healthcare professional, but there was a healthcare professional up here a couple minutes ago, Dr. Reggie Eady. We have to rely on their expertise, and we have to get into our communities. You know, my parents had their first shot a couple weeks ago, and they're going to get their second shot this Thursday. And I'm so proud that they are, in their own way, taking the charge and leading. And in closing, I would have to say, you know, as a teacher, I'm going to talk to my governor over here and give him a nudge in the arm. Maybe he can speed things up for educators and for clergy. But with that being said, it is my honor and my privilege to next introduce and bring up to you our leader, the man who has been doing a phenomenal job in this pandemic, our governor, Mr. Ned Lamont.
Hey, thank you, Bobby. And let's pick up where you left off. We're doing pretty well as a state. We got to do a lot better. And a lot of people are getting left behind, and there are too many people of color, too many people black and brown, folks who are most likely to suffer the worst complications from COVID. And we got to do everything we can to bring the vaccine to them, do everything we can to convince them how important it is. And Bishop Bailey, that's why we're here in your beautiful church. You know, some folks have a little moral, religious questioning about this, and they have faith leaders standing up. Boise, thank you for being here as well, to stand up and say this is really important for yourself, for your community, and for our state and our nation. You got to step up and do the right thing. And you know, Reg, you are taking the lead at Trinity. I really appreciate what you're doing in terms of bringing the vaccine to the people. There are a lot of them worried, well, they'll line up, they'll go on vans, they'll wait in line at Rensselaer Field. But there's some folks with some hesitancy, and you've got to bring the vaccine to them and have trusted leaders stand up and say it's the safe and right thing to do. And where's the mayor? Yeah, you're right, Mayor. I am looking forward to getting my vaccine. I can't wait. Some advantages to being a little older, I gotta say. My wife Annie suffers from, you know, vaccine envy. She can't quite sign up yet, but you can. And I'm talking to the people here who can sign up. I want you to take advantage of this. You know, the chief said so eloquently why some people you know, have hesitancy. Some people have an ideological objection. They've heard about a lot of things, and that's why we have, you know, really the leaders of the state. Religious leaders, Sean Wooden, our treasurer, the mayor, head of the hospital, doing everything we can, the chief, to convince you that it's safe, because the vaccine is not only safe, but it's effective. The vaccine is one of the reasons that our infection rate is going down in this state. It's one of the reasons, Reg, that our hospitalization is going down and our fatalities are beginning to go down. It is working, but it only works if you get the vaccine when you have that opportunity. And we're going to make sure we do everything we can to make sure you get that opportunity. No questions asked. Bring the vaccine to you. Talk to a trusted leader. Talk to one of the folks here who have gotten vaccinated. Talk to a friend. I hope Sean talked to his family when they were a little hesitant on the Zoom call to say it's the right thing to do. And I'm so proud to be standing with our leaders here today. What a difference this is going to make for the black and brown community in our state. Thank you, everybody. Sure. Boys, would you just say a few words? President of the Baptist Convention, thank you.
Thank you, Archbishop Bailey. Thank you, Governor, and to all of you who've gathered here with us today. We are excited that you are here and that there is a major push within the Black and brown community to get this vaccine out into our community. Let me thank the governor for partnering with healthcare individuals to get this vaccine out. Representing the Connecticut State Missionary Baptist Convention, we are for getting this vaccine, and we're for putting this truck on the road, talking to our people and making them aware of the importance of this vaccine. And so again, thank you for being here. Thank you, Archbishop Bailey and your staff, Governor and your staff, Sean, Bobby, all of you who have gathered here today. Thank you so very much.